Have you thought about this phrase that I just heard? Your life is moving in the direction of your strongest thoughts. Let me say that again. Your life is moving in the direction of your strongest thoughts. And that was said by Craig Rochelle, a pastor that I listened to on a podcast. And I thought it was really very critical to the way that I've been thinking lately. I've done a lot of brain detox kind of work, learning how to think differently, set your mind differently. And most people know and have heard of that idea that where your thoughts are leads to what you do, so that you're really stuck sometimes in an area of your life or all areas of your life. And it usually is boiling down to the way that you're thinking. And I really thought there's certain areas of my life that I just kind of want to get back to the basics. And sometimes you get so busy and there's so much going on and you lose direction and focus, and I don't even know where to start because I feel like everything's a little bit out of order. And actually, in a lot of ways, I feel like life is pretty good, but I also know that it's very easy, especially in this world where there is so many different things you can do with your time and intentions and thoughts. It's very hard to sometimes get focused. So I have a plan for myself to start really focusing in on getting back to the basics and being intentional. Okay. And another way of saying that is mindful. And I thought you might want to join me. And I have a different way I'm going to do it this time. So I thought I would share that with you. I'll give you what I plan to do, but yours can be totally different. But we are going to support each other through this. And I think some people have areas in their life, maybe of health, that they want to really get better at. Some people, it might be the way that they're thinking, their faith, their mindset. Some people, it may be work related, just trying to set goals and actually accomplish those goals, because sometimes you have so many different areas that you're dealing with that you just can't even seem to move forward. So I would love for us to help support each other. And that's one of the great things about social media, is that we don't all have to be in the same place at the same time. And we actually don't all have to be working on the same thing. We can work on different things, but help each other. And it's exciting and encouraging when you see other people that are also working in a similar way. So what I'd love to do is create a group that is basically called Being Intentional. And it's not going to be a closed group this time. I would like it just to be on your page, wherever you choose to do that, whether you're on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. But because if we use the same tag, we'll be able to see each other's wonderful things that we're doing each day. So if you want to join me, I will give you more details and I'll put it in writing, but I would love for you to be with us. But I'm just going to tell you, I quickly jotted down my intentional goals and how I'm going to get back to the basics and not feel overwhelmed, because there's going to be some days I'm not going to get done what I accomplished. But on most days, I want to know what I need to do and go in that direction and not get distracted. So my fires that I believe God put in my heart is always Him first, sprinkled all throughout my day, of course, always in everything, but that I really need to focus first on Him because He always gives me direction. So my first fire is always God. My second fire is family, because that is really the most important thing after God in my life. So for me, it's going to be family. And then my third is On Fire Fit. And that encompasses quite a bit of different things. That includes some of my eating habits. It's going to include exercise, and it's going to include business related things that I'm doing. So for me, my basics, as far as God goes, and I'm going to write it down so that I don't forget, is to start every day with prayer and devotion. I do that already, but there are many times that I wake up and start checking my emails or texts or, going on social media or something like that. And I really want to just start with that focus because otherwise I get kind of bogged down and then I feel really distracted because I'm thinking of other things and responding to people. And I want to just get that focus so that I start off with a really clean, fresh mind. My second area is my family, and I have already begun with that a little bit of setting a date night with my husband because, bless his heart, he works a lot. We have busy lives, but I really feel like it's important that we just set that date and then go and do something, the two of us. And I'm also going to set a date time with each of my kids, and I'm going to set it in the calendar regularly so that we don't lose that time together. My third area with On Fire is going to include a few things. One is my eating habits. So I've started to kind of slack a little bit here and there, and my stomach doesn't feel very good if I do that. And I notice that my energy isn't the best. So I'm going to get back to the basics of what works for me. Lots of fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats, lots of water, and staying off of the sugar. I always feel better. So I'm going to stick with those basics. My exercise is still somewhat limited, but I do like to get out and walk in the mornings if I can and teach my booty ballet class. So I'm going to continue doing that and really make that a priority. And there are going to be some days that I have time to walk for an hour, and some days it will be 10 minutes. But I don't want to set myself up for failure by saying that I have to do an hour every day because then it ends up not happening hardly at all. So it's better for me if I just say I'm going to do what I can for that day. And that way I can check it off my list, and it also is going to help me feel better. So I would encourage you to consider something like that as well. I'm also going to be working towards my business goals. And it was interesting because I have a lot of different areas that I love and I'm very passionate about, but I really feel like I'm supposed to be writing at this point, and I've prayed about that, and I really feel like that's a critical part. So I'm devoting 30 minutes, 5 days a week to just sitting down and writing. And for me, it is a little challenging because I can find a lot of things to take over and not stay focused on that. There's a lot of other things I can do, and that's one of the areas where I feel out of my comfort zone. So I tend to put it off, and I am going to do, as I have heard before said, swallow the frog. And that means you do it in the early part of the day, get it done. The hardest thing you should always do towards the beginning of the day because it's too easy to let it slide away when you get later into your day. The last area that I'm going to do that I have continued lately to do, but I would love to have you join me if you're interested, is the decluttering of my home. The reason for me that is a very important part of what I'm doing is I discovered that a lot of the reason that I don't have people come into our home social things is one thing, but I wanted to lead like a Bible study group, which we just started. I have thoughts of having people come in for support group, like for eating and being healthy with that. But it seems like it's such an undertaking to get my house cleaned up and ready for every event. And I thought, I don't want to live restricted by that. So what I'm learning how to do is declutter and zone cleaning. And by doing it that way, my house is perpetually clean. And because of that, I feel totally comfortable having people come into my home. And it's the weirdest thing that would be a limitation for all this time. But once I realized that it was, I thought, well, how am I going to fix this? So I started watching various videos and really learning how to do it and not feel overwhelmed. I don't have to commit 2 weeks full time to decluttering and cleaning my home. I just needed to start setting aside a little bit of time each day. And it's fantastic. It's the best thing. So I would love it if you would join me for any or all of this. You'll have different goals possibly. You might have one part the same and other parts different, but I would love to have you join me. So if you are interested, I would love to hear from you. You can send me a message on firefit@gmail.com is probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. You can also send me a private message, but I would love for us to tag each other. So I'll put that information in the posts that I make, but we're going to do a hashtag on fire intentional. And that way, if you type in on fire intentional, you should see all the different people that are doing things that are also being intentional, getting back to the basics and getting back on track. So think about it. Where are your thoughts? What are you thinking about? Are you defeated? Are you feeling frustrated? Are you feeling lack of direction? Well, that's the direction that your life is going. So get your focus back on track. Start thinking about what you're thinking about, and let's get this going. And we're going to get this started in the next week or two. So just let me know if you're interested, and I will love to encourage you and see what you're doing too. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye.